Shalom. Call Law Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And I want to give double honors to the men who I learned this truth from, beginning at the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and all the men on down, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakatham, to the hopefully elect. Just want to put my 2 cents on this video that this elder did, the elder Anab. You see his page GMS on Air 1. He did a video pretty much going into it's a good example of why you should pretty much mind your own business, especially when it comes to another man and his woman's of their affairs, unless you got a brother, he has some issues, having issues with his woman, and he comes to you as a brother or whatever the case may be. But as far as another man's wife coming to another man that's not her husband, is it's just completely off. And again, you can watch this video. The elder, he goes in on, like I said, why you should pretty much mind your business. Because just to recap, it's a story about a man and a woman. A man and a woman, they got into a dispute, and the chick calls up another man because supposedly her husband was beating on her or whatever, and she calls another man to pretty much get involved, and this chick's husband ends up killing the man, which again it's a perfect example of why you shouldn't get into another man's and woman's affairs. You shouldn't get into their business, and ultimately, when you see something going on like that, let's say, you do see a man, beaten on his woman, ultimately is judgment from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, but ultimately, when something happens to an individual, again, it's judgment from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and it's not up to you, hence the title of this elder's video, trying to be a Captain Saberho, but just with in any situation, just mind your business. If someone's getting jacked up, that's how Ba'Shem Yahushai, just dealing with them. The elder, he did that video, and it made me think about this, which I'm about to pull up. It made me think about this story when you go to 2 Kings, the 6th chapter. All right. I'm going to start off at verse 24. It says, "And it came to pass after this that Benhadad, king of Syria, gathered all his host and went up and besieged Samaria. And it says, and there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it, until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver." All right, so, this king, came up against Israel and besieged Israel, right? And it got to the point where, food ran out, to the point, as far as, like the food and supplies of things, it got so bad that, they were pretty much selling shit for overpriced shit, because it got so bad, right? But reading on in verse 26, it says, "And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. right? So again, seeing this woman in distress, she cried out to the king, right? Which the king at this time, who was it? Was it? I think it was Hezekiah, or just read a little bit. Just trying to figure out who the king was at this time. What's like? Let me just read on for the sake of time. I'm on a plantation, got limited time, so I'm gonna just read on. So again, this woman, in distress, trying to cry out to the king for help, right? But his response, reading in verse 27, it says, and he said, if Yahweh do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? So again, because you got a lot of guys, a lot of men in today's society, just bring it into modern terms, you might see a man beating on his woman, right? And today, it's we're living in a society filled with nothing but a bunch of simps, all right? So being that these men, they're pretty much raised to uh, basically go off their emotions, all right, rather than reason, all right. You might actually, that if one of these simps, catches a man beating on his woman, he might end up, trying to do something to that man, you know. But that's because you don't they don't understand they don't have the understanding on the scriptures, and that's not to say a man in the truth is just to just be beating on his woman. No, that's not what I'm saying. But nevertheless, again, point being that if you do see a man beating on a woman, man, there's always two sides to the story, you know. And again, Yahweh Shem Shai, he can be for that woman that's getting her ass beat, that could be judgment from being sent by Yahweh Shem Shai, and again, it's not for you to be trying to play Captain, Captain Save-A-Ho, because again, there's always two sides of the story, and you don't know what that woman did to provoke that man, and because the scriptures talk about how the woman, pretty much, there's nothing more sinister than a woman, basically. Women, they're willing to do things to the extreme to get at you, because again, they're raised off their emotions. They don't judge off of logic. All right, and again, a lot of these men, a lot of these simps, they were raised by a woman, that's taught them to, go off their emotions as well, to go off the flesh. All right, rather than reason. All right, because again, you see a man beating on a woman, you don't know what that woman, what she did, how she might have provoked him or whatever the case may be. All right, and again, ultimately, that might be judgment from Yahweh Shemel Shai. So again, if Yahweh Shemel Shai didn't cause some type of spiritual intervention or gave that woman some way out of an ass whooping, in reality, it's not your business to try to get involved. Just like this case here with the king. All right, he saw this woman in distress, and his response, read verse 27 again, it says, and he said, if Yahweh do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Yeah, because again, who are you to, interfere, when Yahweh Bashmel Shai sends out a judgment, and, who are you to, try to, you know, say anything against what the will of Yahweh Bashmel Shai is? All right. And, again, for the most part, this all goes back to minding your business. Because scriptures talk about working out your own salvation. At the end of the day, you got to worry about yourself. I was just earlier today or yesterday, because it's almost 2:30 in the morning. But yesterday, on my way to the gym, I actually had to turn back around and drive all the way around to get to my location, because the quick way, the short way, it was all blocked off. They had cops and ambulances and fire trucks. It looked like a big accident, a major accident. And more than likely, someone got hit, someone died, or something. They had caution tape, and it was bad. And again, when you see stuff like that, and just the day before that, I saw, and there was another accident. A few cars, and because around where I live at, man, well, I'm sure this is anywhere, but particularly where I live at, around the area I'm at, there's these people, just speeding maniacs, and they just driving with no cares. They drive with no care. No care for anyone else or themselves, because around here, man, a lot of people they drive reckless. So every other day there's always some accident. The roads are always being blocked off because of some wreck or something. And again, a lot of times, when I see something like that, I quickly, the water Yahweh Shemel Shai, because hey, again, that's judgment being executed by Yahweh Shemel Shai. And secondly, that could have been me, and again, it might sound like a selfish statement, but again, that's because, you don't have the, you don't have the understanding of the scriptures. And again, for the most part, a lot of us, we're taught to live, go by our emotions, rather than reason. So, it might be a natural reaction. You might see something like that, you might get, a little warm in the heart or whatever. But as you grow in this thing, you just start to understand things better. And like I said, a lot of times I see something like that, it could have been me. So the Wadi Hawabashim Shai, as I like, I say to myself, better them than me, And again, might sound like a heartless statement, but it is what it is. But again, the point being that, when you see something going on with someone else, unless they, reach out to you or hell, even if, you gotta, let's say, like even in the brotherhood, you might see someone, you might see a brother slacking or something, you might, try to help them up or whatever. But again, at the end of the day, you gotta worry about yourself. You gotta mind your own business and, focus on doing what you gotta do. Get this, I got it saved up. In 1 Thessalonians 4:11, it says, "And that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you." So the point being that you got to do your own business. Again, you got to focus on yourself. Focus on doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Shai and doing his work, getting his work done at the end of the day. Because the scriptures talk about not meddling And let me get that real quick. Before I get this, where's that at? Well, matter of fact, since I was already there, let me get it. It's Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 29. I'll go ahead and get it since I was already there. See where do I want to start? Verse 19. Yeah, I'll read verse 19. Ecclesiasticus 29 and 19. It says, "A wicked man transgressing the commandments of Yahweh Shai shall fall into traitorship, and he that undertaketh and followeth other men's business for gain shall fall into suits." Okay, so again, you pretty much, you always get into someone else's business, ultimately, it's not going to work out for you. All right. I think that was it on that. So yeah, again, you don't want to be getting into other people's business, especially if it's in regards to another man and his woman. All right, and even more so if if it's a woman trying to reach out to you in regards to her husband, that's and again, the elder, he stressed that in the video. That's just that's completely off. That's way off. So you definitely want to stay away from that. It's in the aspect of a woman, trying to reach out to you, dealing with her husband. That's a no-no. All right, that's completely off. All right, and situations like this where, again, the woman, she was getting her ass beat and she called a friend and to get him involved, and the chick's husband ended up killing him. All right, and this should show you the crudeness of these women. All right, because like I said, the scriptures, they pretty much going into these women on how they're pretty much they're just the most wicked creatures, man. And again, just to prove that, this chick's husband ended up killing her friend, this dude, Mr. Captain Saberho, and they both ended up cutting this man into pieces or whatnot. All right. So yeah, that the wife, the chick, she ended up helping the husband, cut the body up and whatnot. Which again, this, that whole situation is a perfect example of why you should mind your business. Focus on yourself. Do your own business. All right. The path to the kingdom of heaven. All right. Ultimately, it's only big enough for one man to go through at a time. All right, which again goes back to the scripture that I quoted, and it talks about working out your own salvation. You can't bring no one else in with you. All right, so at the end of the day, you got to worry about yourself. All right, so but the scripture I wanted to get was Ecclesiasticus 11. Let me look for this real quick. Ecclesiasticus 11 and 10. I start at verse 9. It says, "Strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not, and sit not in judgment with sinners." So again, when because the scriptures, they talk about, gossiping and things like that, and these are things that we shouldn't be getting ourselves involved with gossip and stuff like that, you know. And then, especially if it's matters that don't, they don't concern you whatsoever, it's not your business to, be getting involved in these things, because, a lot of times, I'm sure, other brothers can relate. A lot of times, I'm around a lot of people, man, and they just want to talk about they just want to talk about their whole life and other people's life. They want to talk about the mother and their friend, how he's sleeping with his best friend's sister, and all this other stuff. Like, I'm just sitting there like, I don't want to hear this stuff. This stuff has absolutely nothing to do with me. Even before this truth, man, I've never been into gossip. I never really cared, about other people's issues. Too busy trying to worry about my own stuff, my own self. I got issues of my own. I've never been the type to get into other people's affairs, and that's how it should be, and that's how it's supposed to be, But reading the point in verse 10, it says, "My son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent, and if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by flying." So you see, it's not your business to be getting into any other people's business, especially if it's a woman, trying to come to you, a man, for advice about her husband or about anything, even when it comes to teaching, if a woman, she's come to you and, she's asking questions dealing with the scriptures or whatnot, and she's got a husband, it's best if you talk to the husband, because, a woman, she's supposed to learn from her husband anyways, she's supposed to learn from her father or her husband, and again, this situation, this is also goes, it also could tie into not giving your strength unto a woman, and, because, again, this is a perfect case, this woman, she reached out to another man dealing with, her business, her and her husband's business, and, this dude, they were probably, committing adultery in the law or whatever, probably, just my, my hypothesis, but ultimately, he was judged from Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, he got involved with another man's, another man's, another man's business, and he ended up losing his life for it. So, stay to yourself, man. Mind your own business. Just focus on doing his work, man. That's all that because we're at the end of this thing. This place is through. We're almost out of here. It's time to turn up righteously. In the spirit. And then it's time to be on fire for this thing. So I don't. Me personally, I don't have time to focus on anything other than feeding the flock of Yahweh Bashim Shai. No, I don't have time for anyone else's, to be in anyone else's business anyways. So hopefully, this was edifying to whom it may concern. Yahweh desire you are edified. And once again, I'm going to give all credit to Yahweh Bashim Shai and double honors to my teachers. Let's start with the apostles and others of Great Millstone and all the men on down. Yahweh Bashim Shai Barakatham to the hopefully elect. And until next time, I say Shalom.